11th Ephesians 2, 8-9 verse. For by grace you have been saved through faith. Breakdown. Emphasizes salvation as a gift from God, not based on works. 12th. 2 Timothy 1:7. Verse. For God has not given us a spirit of fear. Breakdown. Encouragement to embrace courage and strength from God. 13th Matthew 6:33. Verse. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Breakdown. Prioritizing God leads to fulfillment of needs. 14th Romans 12:2 verse. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. Breakdown. A call to spiritual transformation and renewal of the mind. 15th Hebrews 11:1 verse. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Breakdown. Defines faith as trust in God's promises despite not seeing them.
Ready for a deep dive? Today, we're going deep into some powerful, powerful verses from the Bible.
Yeah, these are verses that really get at the core of, well, life, grace, courage, faith, how we change and grow, timeless stuff.
Totally. They give us this guidance, this encouragement, even today.
Absolutely, they really do. They speak to everyone, no matter who you are or what you believe.
Okay, so where do we even begin?
Well, how about with a solid foundation? Ephesians 2:8-9. This passage unpacks God's grace.
Right, that whole thing about salvation being a gift given freely, not something you earn. It takes the pressure off.
Absolutely. You are loved unconditionally. But that whole not by works idea, that can be tricky.
Because if good deeds don't get you into heaven, then what's the point of them, right? That's the question.
Yeah, it's a big one. Does that mean you can just, live however you want?
That's where the whole idea of faith and action come in. Just because you can't earn salvation doesn't mean actions don't matter.
Exactly. It's not about checking off boxes, but about living a life transformed by gratitude. It's about your heart changing. And, well, that changes how you act.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, but life, well, it's not always easy. We get scared, we doubt. How do we find that strength when things get tough?
2 Timothy 1:7. This verse, it's like a coach giving you a pep talk. Don't be afraid, I've got your back.
Right. It's about remembering that God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power. It's powerful.
It is. You mentioned that phrase, spirit of power, in your notes. What speaks to you about that?
Well, it reminds me that courage isn't about not feeling fear. It's about pushing forward, even when you do. Everyone gets scared.
You got that right. And, with everything going on these days, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. We try to do everything, be everything, have everything.
And I know it. Always on, always striving.
see.
Exhausting, really.
Exactly. And that brings us to Matthew 6:33. This verse, it's like a reality check. What's really important? Prioritize God, prioritize doing what's right, and the rest, well, it'll work itself out.
I needed to hear that. It's so easy to get caught up in the pressure to achieve, to have all this stuff. But true fulfillment, that's not about any of that.
Exactly. It's about something deeper, something more, meaningful.
Okay. But how do we actually do that? How do we put that into practice?
Good question. Romans 12:2 talks about this. Don't conform. Don't fit in with the way the world does things. Renew your mind.
That whole don't conform thing can be tough to figure out, though. What does that actually look like? What are some of those patterns we need to watch out for?
Oh, there are so many. The need to compare ourselves to others, measure ourselves by our accomplishments, what we own, all that stuff.
Yes. It's like this constant pressure to project the perfect image, follow all the trends, be glued to our phones. It's a distraction.
It really is. This verse, it reminds us that real change, real growth, comes from focusing on God's truth, not the world's fleeting trends.
And faith plays a big part in all this, right? But what is faith, really?
That's the million-dollar question. And Hebrews 11:1 gives us a pretty incredible answer. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Wow. Break that down for me.
It means trusting in what we can't see. It's about believing in God's promises even when things are hard.
That imagery of faith being the substance of things hoped for, that really sticks with you, like building a bridge to a future you can't even see yet, but trusting that it'll hold you.
Exactly. Think about all those people throughout history who faced unbelievable challenges but never lost their faith. That's what kept them going, that deep down belief.
We've covered a lot today, grace, courage, seeking God, changing from within, and faith. Powerful stuff.
It really is. And it all connects, These verses, they're not just words in a book, they're living, breathing ideas that can truly transform your life.
Uh,
They give you purpose.
so this is where we leave you with something to think about. How can these verses inspire you to live with more grace, with more courage, with more faith, even when things feel uncertain?
Life is full of ups and downs, no doubt. But maybe these verses, they can be like anchors, reminding us of what matters most.
I love that.